They say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood can drain you dry if you let it. I learned this lesson the hard way, watching my hard-earned money disappear into the black hole of family obligations, until the day I discovered just how deep the deception went. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm a loan officer at First Regional Bank. For the past 5 years, I've been sending my parents $2,000 every month to help out with expenses. At least that's what they told me it was for. Your brother's still getting back on his feet, Mom would say during our weekly calls. You know how hard it's been for him since the divorce. And with the economy the way it is. Ah yes, my brother Kevin. The perpetual victim of circumstance, always just one lucky break away from turning his life around. While I'd worked my way through college, earned my MBA, and built a career in banking, Kevin had bounced from job to job, living in our parents' basement and dreaming up get-rich-quick schemes. He's got real potential, Dad would insist. He just needs a little support until his cryptocurrency investments pay off. You're doing so well at the bank, surely you can help out your own family? And I did help, month after month, year after year, watching my savings dwindle while Kevin posted photos of his latest business meetings at expensive restaurants. But family helps family, right? That's what Mom and Dad always said. Until the day Kevin walked into my bank, wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly mortgage payment, asking about a loan for a beach house. I wasn't supposed to be at the front desk that day. As a senior loan officer, I usually worked with commercial clients in my private office. But Linda was out sick, and we were short-staffed. So there I was when my brother strolled in, not even recognizing me behind my mask and plexiglass shield. I'd like to apply for a mortgage, he said, barely glancing up from his phone. Something in the $800,000 range. Ocean View preferred. I nearly dropped my pen. $800,000? My brother, who supposedly couldn't afford his own apartment? Of course, I said, keeping my voice neutral. I'll just need to see some documentation of your income and assets. Kevin finally looked up, his eyes widening as he recognized me. Sarah, what are you? I mean, I didn't know you worked this branch. For 3 years now, I said coolly. About those documents? He shifted uncomfortably. Look, maybe I should come back another time. No, please, I smiled, though it felt more like baring my teeth. I insist. As your sister, I want to make sure you get the best possible service. Trapped, Kevin reluctantly handed over his financial documents. What I saw made my blood boil. Bank statements showing regular deposits of $2,000, my money, going into an investment account. Tax returns listing significant income from various consulting jobs I'd never heard about. And property records showing he already owned a condo in a city that he purchased 2 years ago. 2 years. While I'd been living in a tiny apartment, sacrificing my own dreams of homeownership to help my struggling brother, he'd been building a real estate portfolio with my money. Interesting, I said, scanning the documents. So when Mom and Dad said you were living in their basement, they suggested it would be better if he thought I was still getting back on my feet. Kevin had the grace to look somewhat ashamed. You know how generous you are, sis. We didn't want you to stop helping out just because I was doing okay. My voice could have frozen lava. Mom and Dad were in on this. Kevin's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then paled slightly. Look, I should go. Maybe we can discuss this later as family. I looked at his phone screen, catching a glimpse of a message from Mom. Did you get the loan? Don't let Sarah see the documents. Too late, Mom. Sure, I said, making copies of everything. Let's discuss it as family. Sunday dinner this week. Kevin practically ran from the bank. I sat there for a long time, looking at the evidence of years of deception spread across my desk. The condo purchase, the investment accounts, the regular transfers to offshore holdings. And through it all, my monthly $2,000 contributions, labeled in Kevin's spreadsheets as Sis's subsidy. That night, I dug deeper. Being a loan officer has its advantages. I had access to financial databases and property records that told a very interesting story. Kevin hadn't just been accepting my money, he'd been building a small empire with it. The condo downtown, a stake in a nightclub, and now he wanted a beach house. My phone rang, Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah, honey, her voice was nervous. Kevin told us he ran into you at the bank today. I'm sure this all seemed shocking, but we can explain everything. Your father and I only wanted what was best for both our children. Call us back, please." I didn't call back. Instead, I spent the night documenting everything. Every transfer, every lie, every manipulation they used to keep the money flowing. 5 years of deception, laid out in cold, hard numbers. Sunday dinner was going to be very interesting indeed. But first, I had a stop to make. Because in reviewing Kevin's documents, I'd noticed something else, something that suggested my brother's financial success might not be entirely legal. And I had a meeting scheduled with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. My parents had always said family helps family. They were about to learn that sometimes helping family means holding them accountable. Part 2. The FBI agent looked exactly like you'd expect. Crisp suit, serious expression, and an air of having seen it all before. Agent Roberts sat across from me in a coffee shop 2 blocks from the bank, reviewing the documents I'd brought. "This is interesting," she said finally. "Your brother's investment patterns match several cases we've been tracking. Small-scale money laundering through real estate purchases, using legitimate income to mask darker money." Money laundering? I felt sick. Are you saying Kevin's involved with criminals? We believe he's been helping certain organizations clean their money through property investments. The condo, the nightclub, they're perfect vehicles for making dirty money look clean. She pulled out a photo showing Kevin meeting with a man I recognized from crime reports. "Your brother's been on our radar for months, but we couldn't figure out where his seed money was coming from." "From me?" I whispered. "I've been unknowingly funding criminal enterprises." Agent Roberts assured me I wasn't in any legal trouble, but suggested I might want to help them build their case. I agreed immediately. The idea that my hard-earned money had been used for criminal activities made my blood boil. Sunday dinner arrived too quickly and not quickly enough. I pulled up to my parents' house, the same house where I'd grown up, where Kevin supposedly still lived in the basement, exactly on time. Mom's pot roast smell wafted from the kitchen, a scent that used to mean comfort but now felt like part of the deception. "Sarah, honey," Mom rushed to hug me. "We've been so worried. You haven't returned our calls." "Been busy," I said shortly, shrugging off her embrace. "Where's Kevin?" "Running a little late." Dad called from his recliner. "Business meeting." "Right?" I smiled tightly. "Meeting with Mr. Salvatore again?" The color drained from my father's face. So he knew about Kevin's criminal connections too. Kevin arrived 20 minutes late, still wearing his expensive suit, barely meeting my eyes as he sat down at the dinner table. "Well," Mom said brightly, passing the potatoes. "Isn't this nice? The whole family together." "Let's talk about family," I interrupted. "Specifically, let's talk about what family means to all of you." "Sarah," Mom started, but I held up my hand. "For 5 years, I've sent you $2,000 every month. That's $120,000 total. Money I was told was helping my struggling brother get back on his feet." I pulled out a folder and started laying documents on the table. Imagine my surprise when I discovered that my struggling brother owns a $500,000 condo downtown. "Sarah, please," Kevin tried to interject. "And a stake in the Platinum Lounge nightclub. And numerous offshore accounts. All while supposedly living in Mom and Dad's basement." "We can explain," Dad started. "Oh, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can explain why you let me sacrifice my own dreams of buying a house while Kevin built his real estate empire with my money. I'm sure you can explain why you all conspired to keep me in the dark." "We didn't want you to stop helping," Mom said tearfully. "You've always been the responsible one, the successful one." "The family ATM, you mean?" I laughed bitterly. "The reliable source of cash while you all lived it up." "It wasn't like that," Kevin protested. "I used your money to build something, to create opportunities, to launder money for criminals?" I asked quietly. The room went deadly silent. Kevin's face turned ashen. "I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered. "Really? Should we call Mr. Salvatore and ask him? I'm sure the FBI would love to hear his side of the story." "The FBI?" Mom's voice rose to a shriek. "Kevin, what is she talking about?" "Nothing." Kevin stood up so quickly his chair fell backward. "This is ridiculous. Sarah's just jealous because I've been successful." "Successful at what?" I demanded. "Using my money to help criminals hide theirs? That fancy suit you're wearing, was it paid for with drug money? Human trafficking profits? How dare you?" Dad thundered, but his face showed fear rather than anger. No, how dare you, I shot back. How dare you all sit here in your web of lies, pretending to be a loving family while stealing from me and enabling criminal activity. Please, Mom was crying now. We can fix this. We'll pay you back. It's too late for that, I said, standing up. The FBI has everything they need. They're probably watching this house right now. Kevin bolted for the door, but it burst open before he reached it. Agent Roberts led a team of FBI agents into the house, badges displayed. Kevin Mitchell, she announced, you're under arrest for money laundering, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit financial crimes. What followed was chaos. Kevin was handcuffed and led away, protesting his innocence. Mom collapsed in tears while Dad tried unsuccessfully to intervene. I stood in the middle of it all, watching my family's carefully constructed facade crumble. The investigation revealed the full scope of Kevin's crimes. He'd been using my family support money as legitimate cover for laundering millions in criminal proceeds through his various business ventures. Mom and Dad hadn't known of the criminal connections, but they'd happily helped him deceive me to keep the money flowing. Kevin took a plea deal, 15 years in federal prison. The nightclub and condo were seized as criminal assets. Mom and Dad faced their own legal troubles for their role in the financial fraud, eventually agreeing to pay restitution. A year later, I sat in my new house, purchased with the money I'd stopped sending to my family, reading a letter from Kevin in prison. I'm sorry, he wrote. I got caught up in the easy money, the lifestyle. I told myself I was just being smart, using your generosity to build something bigger. I never meant for it to go so far. I didn't reply. Some betrayals can't be answered with words. Mom and Dad still call sometimes, their voices heavy with guilt and regret. They're struggling now, their retirement savings depleted by legal fees and restitution payments. Sometimes they hint about needing help with bills. I don't respond to those hints. Last week, I was reviewing loan applications at work when a young woman came in, desperate for help with her parents' medical bills. She was working 2 jobs, sacrificing everything to support her family. Let me give you some advice, I told her, thinking of all I'd learned. Sometimes helping family means learning to say no. Sometimes love requires boundaries. She left with information about medical payment assistance programs and financial counseling services. I watched her go, remembering how it felt to believe that family obligation meant endless giving. They say blood is thicker than water, but they don't tell you that blood can be poisoned by lies and manipulation. I've learned that real family isn't about who can take the most from you. It's about mutual respect, honesty, and genuine support. I keep the FBI's case files in my home office, a reminder that sometimes the greatest act of love is holding people accountable for their actions. The documents tell a story of greed, betrayal, and consequences. But they also tell a story of freedom. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from endless obligation. Freedom to build my own life without carrying the weight of others' deceptions. That's worth more than any family dinner could ever be.